It's time for the season finale of the 11 o'clock Waffle. Hello everybody, I'm Waffles and it really is game time. This season we've had 12 shows, 20 contestants and 9 different winners. But there can be only one. First up, the only contestant this season with a 100% winning record. 2 appearances and 2 wins. Can she become the first person to reach a hat-trick of victories? Please welcome the enormously tall Emma Preuss.
Hi everyone, nice to be back on.
You could become the first ever person to get 3 and 3.
Oh wow. Well, fingers crossed. I've got some fairly tough opponents.
And our second guest has possibly the most reason to end Emma's run of form today, tying with Ed on consecutive victories for 2. All is fair in love and war, especially when 2 star-crossed lovers meet on the Waffle. Scraping her way into the finale with 1 win, a hint of cleavage and a total of 101 points, it's Lucy Ahmed.
Hello! It's good to be back.
You going to beat Emma today?
Possibly. I have to admit that these questions actually made me have to really think, because I was trying to find answers for like a good hour. It's just like, I don't know what I'm going to say.
How important is it to you today that Emma doesn't beat your current record?
To be honest, I just want to win because of the last series more than this series, because I know I haven't done that well this year. But I don't mind if she wins.
Okay, that's nice.
I will beat you though.
Okay. I quite like to win this series just because last series I was appalling. So I'm quite liking the fact that I'm actually doing okay in this one. But I have a feeling that my run of luck might not last.
Well, it's going to be tough against the next contestant. She's had a fantastic start to her debut series, combining intellectual answers, charm, and displaying a wonderful ability to mock her guests, especially Carla and her cougar ways. Welcome the underdog, or should that be the cat of the finale, it's Jennifer Roberts.
Yeah, and I have small breasts. Let's go same as Lucy. Hi.
Hey Jenny. Jenny, have a point. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
I see you're already trumping Lucy and Emma to win today.
I always trump Lucy and Emma.
Ooh,
I don't know why.
That's fighting talk.
That is fighting talk.
I
Wrong
thought
show.
we should have some because Lucy was a bit modest.
Yeah, you've
Even
changed,
with her
Lucy.
breasts.
You've changed, Lucy. You used to come on this show every week, shake around, flaunt, drop a bit of butter, and nothing more.
I can't do that over Skype.
Lucy, honestly.
And our final guest now, the current reigning champion of the Waffle. He will get down on the ground if that's what it takes to win. Welcome our longest haired panellist of the day, it's Edgar Duncan.
Bonjour, hola, good day.
That's the most downbeat intro you've ever given yourself.
Ed is totally relaxed.
I'm absolutely fine. I've really gotten down on the ground repeatedly this month gone, so I'm very relaxed right now.
I was going to say, is Edgar still the longest haired person on the Waffle? Lucy has been working hard to trump him in hair length recently.
I still think Edgar's got longer hair than me.
Okay.
But can you put it in a ponytail and whip people with it? Very useful.
Unfortunately, I probably wouldn't have a magnificent ponytail as yours, so no.
Mwah.
If you've listened before, you'll know the drill. For new listeners, The Waffle is a show where we take the week's news and sprinkle it with a side of maple syrup and trivia. Points are awarded according to who flaunts it most and quality answers. So, allons-y. Question 1. Breaking Bad has come to an end, with many people calling it one of the best television series of all time. I was reading that its pre-title sequences, or cold opens, are apparently really, really good and some of the best in television history. So, in a twist to our regular end of season finale question, what is the best pre-title sequence? And we'll start with reigning champion, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, yay. This is actually quite a hard one for me because I don't watch that much television, to be honest with you. And I do hear some amazing things about Breaking Bad, so I'm just going to have to go with possibly one from classic Doctor Who, which is Remembrance of the Daleks, because I really like the setup for that pre-title sequence, in which it sets up with Earth from space from 1963, sets up a Dalek ship slowly panning across the camera with all of these audio samples from the era before it goes into the title sequence. It's not fancy, but I really quite like it. But there we go.
Okay, we go to Lucy next.
Okay, I think there's going to be a bit of a theme here because I'm going to mention Doctor Who. For me, it would have to be the name of the Doctor, and it's Clara and all the Doctors. That sequence where they put all the classic Doctors into the beginning sequence was amazing. Also, because it's like the first time that the new series has really acknowledged the classic series in that much detail. But I do want to quickly mention also Game of Thrones, the pilot episode. Just really quickly, just because that the pilot episode had the Night's Watchmen and the White Walkers as their sort of opening sequence. And it was terrifying because they come across a village which has been slaughtered. And then it just quickly, after the titles are done, goes to Winterfell, and it's a totally different atmosphere. And the juxtaposition from the two things was just really good as an opening to a whole new epic series that was about to start. So that's my answer.
Okay, and Jenny next.
I really like Supernatural's introductions because they're ridiculous, over-the-top violence. And they did a Christmas special called A Very Supernatural Christmas, where it shows a grandfather coming to visit his grandson for Christmas, and they're obviously really close, and he's a really sweet old man. And then it cuts to the evening where the grandfather's dressed up as Father Christmas, and he rings some sleigh bells, and the little boy watches from the banister, and then there's a noise on the roof, and some dust falls into the fireplace. And the grandfather goes to investigate, and he's violently yanked up the chimney, and there's a crunching noise, and just a bloody boot falls onto the rug. And then it's the Happy Christmas credits.
One for the kids.
I just learned.
I'm definitely going to have to look that up later.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous episode. It's brilliant.
Okay, and Emma last.
Well, at first I was trying to think of the TV one. And although I was very tempted to go with Doctor Who, because they have had some really good pre-title sequences, in the end I decided to go for a film. And that film is Raiders of the Lost Ark, because the whole opening sequence before the credits establishes that character amazingly. It's the first Indiana Jones film. It has the whole sequence of him stealing the idol, of course the boulder rolling down, him swinging away and then losing the prize. And I mean, it's the perfect setup to the whole series of films and the character. I don't think you could beat that.
I'll give you another point if you can name me who was supposed to be Indiana Jones.
Oh, I don't know.
Anybody else know?
No.
Tom Selleck.
Oh, really?
Tom Selleck.
I had heard
That might have worked.
That could have worked, actually.
Tom Selleck was meant to be Indiana Jones, but he had to drop out due to Magnum PI.
Anyone but Harrison Ford, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I really can't stand Harrison Ford.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, why is that so surprising? He only has one facial expression.
But it's Han Solo. The man who is on my lounge wall.
I always kind of preferred Luke.
I don't know, there's Harrison Ford, he's good in sort of fun action films, stuff like Indiana Jones or where he's Han Solo, where, to be honest, he doesn't always have to do a great amount of acting. He just has to be kind of cool. I think it was. Sorry, carry on. I was going to say I can't say I'm a huge fan of a lot of his other films where he's maybe got more serious roles, but as a sort of action hero, he's really great. Yeah,
I think you're right. He kind of ruined Blade Runner for me. I thought I'd really enjoy that film.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we'll go from a disagreement over Harrison Ford to a disagreement in the American government, which has closed as a result of an argument. They can't settle the budget concerning the healthcare system, I believe. So they've decided to just pack up, go home, and not bother being a country, I think. So give me a side effect that the closures are having around the world. Lucy.
Okay, so obviously looking this up, I found some pretty sad ones that are, not that great. Things like weddings have to be postponed and things like that. But there is actually a good thing that's come out of this, which was there was a rally that was meant to be happening at the National Military Park in Pennsylvania by the KKK. And that's had to be cancelled, unfortunately. I have to say I'm not that sorry that had to be cancelled.
Wow. That's still going?
Yeah, and it was reported in the press like it was like there was a whole list of things that had been affected, and it was reported as one of those things that was like that was a sad thing. Like, it was bad that they couldn't have their rally. And I was just like, what? Why is that in the list of things like weddings and not being able to do your banking?
Wow. But no, they do still exist. There was an amazing story I heard a while back that the Westboro Baptist Church were... it was at a funeral, and they brought along all of their signs and were being disruptive. But the Westboro Baptist Church is so hated that the KKK came out to stop them.
That says something when the KKK stops you from doing something.
Because it's too extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Emma.
Well, apparently the Mars rover and various other things from NASA are no longer tweeting and putting things out on social media because NASA has had to close down all of their social media sites. So you can't find out all the cool stuff they're doing up in space, which I think is quite sad.
Well, that's a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
Ed, you normally know a lot of sci-fi facts, generally involving meteors crashing into the planet.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna take over NASA's Twitter, to be honest with you. Yeah, my legitimate answer for this question is just half the world just sort of face palming how ridiculous it all is, and I'll just end it there, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Ed. I'm not up on current affairs. I thought I was, but I'm obviously not because I didn't realise this had happened before I read the Waffle questions.
Oh,
and I sort of did a double take. It's really weird, isn't it? It seems kind of childish.
It's just we can't decide it. Well, it's basically the equivalent of a country going, "That's it, I'm stopping the car."
Yeah.
Yes.
Turning around.
Sort yourselves out.
But my answer is that cemeteries have obviously had to close, war memorials, but that does include 20 US cemeteries in Europe. They're obviously maintained by US staff. And I think if anybody wants free healthcare or regrets bad healthcare, it's dead people.
Definitely.
So you can't even get away from these kind of ridiculous politics when you've been dead and buried years ago.
Okay,
There's
question...
really annoyed corpses.
Still haven't got this together, even after we fought and died. Sorry, Matt.
Anybody else? Anybody?
Bacon.
Question 3. Danny Dyer is to take over the running of the Queen Vic in long-running soap EastEnders. So, give me a fact about the new barman. Jenny.
An anagram of his name is any dry end. Or deny Randy.
I like deny Randy.
And anagrams of Matt Forsyth are frothy mask or arcs of myth.
Wow.
I just want to talk about anagrams. Yeah, that's quite cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Anagrams are really important. That's a really important fact.
Oh, Jenny's sucking her way up to the final. Emma.
He was fired as a columnist from Zoo magazine because he told a reader who wanted advice about how to get over a breakup that he should cut his ex's face, then no one will want her.
That's dark.
He's such a nice man.
That's really low.
I have to admit, when I first started reading about him, he sounded quite nice. I kept hearing about how he was a family man and all this sort of thing. And then I got sort of deeper down, and he's just become more and more horrible sounding.
Do the accent.
You can.
Do his accent.
I don't think I can. I've spent too much time in the West Country.
See, I read something that they sacked him, but apparently he never actually wrote the article.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. They had he was the face of the article, but he never wrote the article apparently.
Someone had a grudge against him, wanted to besmirch him in a really morbid, horrible way.
Well, if you want to have a nice fact to make up for the horrible fact, he's also been with his girlfriend since he was 14, which I think's quite cute.
Yeah, but she knows what'll happen if she leaves him.
Exactly.
Ed,
He once did a Coca-Cola advert, actually.
you did.
Yeah, I certainly did. No.
Ed's the face of Coke. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, it's my sparkly dark liquid. Ready for... Anyway, he did an advert, which involved him and a friend looking inside a fridge and him saying, "Oh no, my mum bought this store-owned brand of Coke again." And he undoes the top of it and he goes, "It sounds like Coke." He takes a whiff of it. He goes, "It smells like Coke." And then he drinks it and goes, "But it tastes like chicken." And I think, what an awful advert. It's just-
So bad.
It's so rubbish, but he did that advert, and he even sounds the same in it, and he's only a teenager in this advert. I just think they were really scraping the bottom of the barrel when they made that. But that's something he did.
Oh, that's something else I'm going to have to look up after the show.
Yep, it's on YouTube.
Lucy.
Yeah, this is to do with his acting. He's had a few cameos in music videos and computer games. One of the computer games he was in the Grand Theft Auto franchise as Kent Paul, and he also was in a promo video for the Lad Rockers, the Twang's Two Lovers. I've never watched this video, but yeah, he just appears everywhere.
Okay, time for the scores at the end of the third round. In joint last on 9 points each, it's the old guard of Edgar and Lucy.
Woo!
On 11 points, it's Emma.
Woo!
And narrowly in the lead, it's Jenny on 12.
Oh, this always happens to me. It's always really narrowly in the lead. But I'm happy, though.
I'm happy that you're happy, Jenny.
Ah, I will
happy
destroy
Emma's
you.
We're happy. Oh, God.
I really want to win.
Okay.
I'm slightly worried that I'm suddenly going to find that Jenny is in my house and she's just going to take me down at some point.
What, just 5 seconds later, still wearing headphones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
carry your laptop with you.
It's pretty heavy. It could do some damage.
That's an impressive dongle connection you've got there to be doing that.
Just Emma starts talking, and then suddenly Edgar's gone, and then it's like, okay, no, she's coming to Cornwall.
Yep.
It could pick you off one at a time. We could do a horror waffle where that happens.
That would
People
be
just go
so
silent.
good.
Yeah.
Halloween soon.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a plan.
Yeah.
Question 4. Blurred Lines has become the biggest selling single of 2013, overtaking Daft Punk's Get Lucky. But if that is the biggest selling single of 2013, what in fact has been the best, if indeed there is a better song than Blurred Lines, Lucy?
There is so many songs that are better than Blurred Lines.
Yeah.
Which are?
Which are, there's so many that I'm going to say two. One is God Made the World by Cold Cave and Opposite by Biffy Clyro. But there's so many more that are better than Blurred Lines, that have soul and meaning to them and aren't just rape lyrics.
It's a good song.
He said it was feminist. He said it was a new feminist movement.
Yeah, and apparently the video with the prancing naked girls, apparently that was irony because they're both married with children. I'd love to see him sit down with his kids and explain that. See Daddy frolicking with the naked lady? That's just irony. Don't
Yeah.
tell
He must
your
be-
mother.
He must be really smart. He must be a lot more intelligent than all of us because I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I can't see what he sees with his very discerning mind.
Tits, mainly.
Yeah.
Hello.
Ed. Hello.
Does it have to be from this year? Because the impression I got is that it did.
The biggest selling single of 2013, what in fact has been the best? kind of this year.
Okay.
Unless you've gone from 1981, I'd probably give you more points for that, to be honest.
Well, I'm not, because my whole goal of this is to not win. No, I quite like the one Maya actually linked me to earlier this month, which was the fox.
Yes.
What does the fox say? It's called the fox, but yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Please tell me you dress up in your outfit and do it. I know you have a wolf outfit, and it's not quite a fox, but they're sort of a little bit similar.
How do you know about this? Yeah. No, I don't dress up in it, unless I really, really want to.
Emma.
I had a hard time with this because although pretty much any song is better than Blurred Lines,
yes,
it's not been a good year for music, I don't think.
I know JLS split up.
Yeah, I know it's been tragic.
And My Chemical Romance.
I've been weeping all year. But for me, it's been quite a good year because Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds have finally brought out another album. And that makes me very happy because it's been many years since that's happened.
It shouldn't make you happy.
It makes me
melancholy and depressed.
It makes me happy in a very melancholy way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't really listen to singles much. I tend to get albums. And so I'm going to go for an album rather than a single because then you've got a whole... It's more songs. It's better. Singles are dull. I like to be able to put on a whole album to just lie back, relax, and just go, yeah, it's nice.
Okay, and Jenny to close the round.
Or not.
Bye,
What?
Jenny.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
We thought you
My
were
headphones did
murdered.
something strange. Placebo brought out a song called Too Many Friends recently. It was a good single. It's about internet culture. And I can't relate to too many friends. I don't have enough friends. I had to win quiz shows in order to get you to talk to me. I was talking to Carly I was talking to Carly yesterday. She's cool. Even though I called her a paedophile.
I've seen
like
recently.
I did see you and Mac the other week.
Last week.
Yes. A week other than this one.
Can I just say, on both Blurred Lines and Daft Punk's Get Lucky, there's a guy called Farrell. And he seems to be on quite a few songs as featuring Farrell. I kind of have this idea that, you know, they're in the studio about to record, and then Farrell wanders in, he's like, hey guys, you about to record? Hey, I could just, have you got any like lines I could sing in the song? You know, I could sing a line. No, Farrell, we're going to record this, go away. No, I just sing a line, it'll be fine. Or I could just go, ooh, and, you know, it'd be cool.
Rihanna had this problem a couple of years back.
You'll have the longest running number
She kept
one.
being like, yeah, got a new song. And then the song would be like, hey, Rihanna. Oh, damn it.
Go away, Farrell. How did you know I was recording here? I was just wandering by. I just can't, you know, if you needed ooh thrown in, I can do that.
He must bring them luck because both those songs have been massive number ones in the UK.
We need Farrell on the waffle.
Clearly, we need to bring
We
in Farrell.
do. The Farrell effect.
Question 5. A grandfather who came to take his grandchild to the doctors during school hours was given the wrong child in a mix-up at the school in Kent. So, other examples of major mistakes that have almost ended badly. Lucy.
Oh no, you knew that I was struggling with this question. I texted you in preparation to say that I was struggling with this question. Okay. Biggest mistake could have been really badly. Okay, so I'm just going to go with a personal one because otherwise I don't have an answer and I do want some points. So I'm just going to go with the biggest mistake could have been my 22nd birthday when I sort of met up with somebody that I really liked and said that I couldn't be with them and then didn't go out with them for 3 months because, you know, I was stupid. That could have been the biggest mistake, but it's worked out really well.
Aww.
Eddie, you feeling a bit nauseous?
No.
Who could you be talking about, Lucy? Such a mystery.
I don't know who I could be talking about, but yeah, that could have been a huge mistake.
Okay, Emma.
Well, yes. In the midst of the Cold War, on November the 24th, there was a warning system over in America. And basically, the headquarters were checking out on all the radar sites, which were meant to check out whether there was a nuclear strike. But then suddenly, all the radar sites went dead, which is basically what would probably happen if they'd suddenly been nuked to oblivion. And so everyone there was panicking, everyone was getting ready to maybe fire off a load of nukes, probably towards Russia. And then a plane that happened to be overhead reported back everything was fine. It was just a fuse had blown somewhere. So the whole world nearly got blown up because a fuse went.
Okay, and Jenny next.
In the 1600s, there lived a servant called Anne Green, and she was hanged in 1650 in Oxford. And she'd said to her friends, "Please make sure I'm dead." So they hit her swinging body and to make sure that she was. And after a while, she was cut down, and she was pronounced dead by the prison doctor and handed over to medical students for dissection. And a day later, they realised she was still breathing.
Oh, gosh.
Whoa.
And they managed to resuscitate her. She was pardoned because they thought it must have been God's will, and she lived another 15 years.
Wow.
Whoa.
It was a mistake to hang her anyway, because she was seduced by her master's grandson, and then she gave birth to a stillborn child, and she was accused of murdering it despite the evidence, so she was probably completely innocent.
Yes.
So it's a good thing she didn't die or was dissected while still alive.
Yeah.
Ed.
In the 1200s, a rock was found. This is leading you somewhere, trust me.
Everybody brace yourselves.
A rock was found, and with mysterious carvings on it.
This is the plot of
And-
Indiana
yep.
Jones and the Temple of Doom.
No, what ended up happening actually was that scholars mistook the carvings on there for an epic poem. And for about 700 years, all sorts of people were trying to translate these markings on a rock for basic words to see what poem it was written by, like they thought it was like the really early form of poetry. And yeah, it took 700 years for people to realise actually it was just marks on a rock. So for 700 years, there was the fatal mistake of that, basically. And you think that could have been written down in history as something pretty unique, but...
Okay, question 6. Very important in this round. We're just going to make it quickie for time. Fewer children are reading in their spare time. So what children's books would you encourage them to read? Edgar.
Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, because I think kids need to be scared or scare those Sproxborn.
Yes. Emma.
Michael Moore Pergo, because I loved his books when I was growing up, and they deal with some quite serious subjects, but from quite an accessible angle, without being preachy. So I think they're really good, and I'd recommend them to any kid.
Okay, and Lucy?
You're all going to think I've gone crazy, but Twilight, because I think kids need to know what an unhealthy relationship is, and that's the perfect example.
I think they could learn a lot from Twilight.
Yeah, they wouldn't certainly learn how to read.
They learn how to not write.
Because it's useful for so many things.
Mainly toilet paper or kindling.
I was in a secondary school English lesson, and
I thought you were going to say I was
they
in
were
a school
talking about
production.
the Gothic genre, and they were using Twilight as an example.
Oh,
And
no.
it made me sad.
Yeah.
Made me really sad.
Hey, this works out brilliantly because we can segue from Lucy's Twilight answer to the writer of the next sort of Twilight but not Twilight novel, Jenny.
Yay. Thank you for the plug.
Plug freely.
I'd read my children The Hobbit, because my children would be very short.
Oh.
And all children are pretty short. And my dad read me The Hobbit when I was very small, and I grew up to be extremely well adjusted. And don't read your children The Taste of Her by J. Robin, who is now available for pre-order on lessthan3press.com.
Nice plug.
It says no explicit content, but that's
A lie.
not entirely true.
They need to learn about these things. I think they should.
Edgar Allan Poe is probably a better introduction than I am, though.
Okay, and
Well,
And given that, it's it's about 80 days now until Christmas or something like that. If you're looking for a vampire lesbian novel to buy your loved one, where do they go again, Jenny?
Lessthan3press.com. It's the Proud to be a Vampire anthology if you want the whole thing, which you do.
You do. And if you alternatively, Ed, your book thing.
But what? Which one? Biorhythm?
Yeah, that one.
I wrote that a couple of years ago. Yeah, Biorhythm. Yeah, that's a fun book about stuff.
And if you want sea salt, Lucy.
Cool.
And if you want to see a very good pantomime, I don't know if Emma's in Panto this year.
I'm not in Panto this year.
Then don't
Come to the Blake K for the Gingerbread Man.
Yeah.
Over Christmas.
Don't go to Swindon because there's no Panto.
There is actually a pantomime in Swindon, but it normally has Keith Chegwin in. You don't want to come see it. Come to Pewsey instead, where they have much, much better pantomimes, and it's Jack and the Beanstalk this year, but I'm not actually in it.
Okay, there's all of the plugging done before the scores, which are on 20 points in last place, Lucy.
Woo!
On 22, it's Emma.
Woo!
23, it is Edgar. And maintaining her reputation as narrowly in the lead, it's Jenny.
I want to pet you.
We are available on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, 11 o'clock Waffle. So add, subscribe, poke, tweet, whatever. Us. We should also give a big shout out to Christopher Stanley, the man who does a lot of work on the Twitter page, because it is his birthday today.
Happy
Yay!
Birthday to Chris.
I think he's 25. Is that right? Is he 25?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, he's 20.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my god, he's halfway to 50.
Wow.
Well,
Um,
that's depressing.
Yeah. So happy 25th birthday, Chris. You guys can come in with any more birthday comments or wishes for him.
Happy birthday! Woo!
Yeah, you could.
Glad you made it this far.
Facebook. You could tweet him happy birthday by tweeting @eveningstanners with the hashtag #SuperWomble.
Halfway to 50 is not that old. If you think of how long you've already been alive, that's a long time. That is the whole of your life.
But it gets faster and faster.
Okay, so let's get on with the climax of the show. Question number 7. A Moroccan teenage boy and girl are being charged with violating public decency after a friend posted a photo online of them kissing. So what other crimes have had you going, I'm sorry, what? Jenny.
If a whale is stranded on a British beach, it has to be presented to the monarch. And in April, a whale was stranded on Falmouth Beach. And I can't find anything in the article that says it was presented to the Queen. I think that's disgraceful.
I just like the idea of a Cornishman turn up at Buckingham Palace. Alright, my Majesty?
We got a whale free.
Here, where
That's
do you want
exactly
it?
what should have happened.
Send the
Get to you
corgis.
directly.
Wow.
A horrendous image of a whale being devoured by corgis now.
I love that. Someone has to draw that or something.
Emma.
Oh, I've got 2. There was a boy in South Carolina who, on Christmas Eve, crept in early and decided he was going to start opening his presents because he couldn't wait. And he got a new Nintendo. He was really excited, and he started playing on it. And his mum found him. His mum, Brandy, was so fed up of this kid being irritating, just not doing it as he was told, that she rang the police and had him charged with larceny, and the kid was arrested.
Wow.
Best Christmas present ever.
I thought it was going to end like a supernatural Christmas then.
No,
No.
he was literally taken to prison in handcuffs.
Wow.
Wow. How old was he?
He was just a
So,
little kid.
did
I
you
think
say?
It didn't say. I think he was about 8.
I'd hate to be that police officer. Saddest Christmas ever.
I know, right?
So they can arrest kids in America for opening Christmas presents, but they can't sort out the government.
Yeah.
Ed.
It is illegal to sell Kinder Eggs in America because people choke on them. This is a horrible crime. Kinder Eggs are amazing. I love Kinder Eggs.
Oh, it's just the sheer joy. I want to give Ed a Kinder Egg now.
Yay!
Ed, are you trying to get on the advert for Kinder Eggs?
Yeah, I can even do the cheesy smile and then be foil wrapped around a Kinder Egg.
He's going to replace the little kid that's on all the Kinder chocolate stuff. It's going to be Edgar looking really happy.
I think my face would actually be a lot less creepy than that kid's, funnily enough.
Yeah, he's terrifying.
Yes, he is.
Okay, and Lucy.
Okay, I actually remember reading this one back earlier in the year, but it made me laugh, so I had to find it again. So a groom called a bomb hoax on his own wedding to hide the fact that he'd not booked a venue. He actually admitted in court that he called the bomb hoax because he didn't want to upset his bride, and he didn't want her to discover like his failure to book this venue, and he panicked. So yeah, this was in Liverpool. He just called a bomb hoax on his own wedding.
That's kind of romantic.
Kind of.
It would have been more romantic to book the venue in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did it get to that stage? Right, I've got the dress, I've got the rings, invited the guests. I've got the venue.
I think they'd been in talks with the venue and he just hadn't got round to confirming the actual booking, and he hadn't realised until quite close to the date, and he didn't want to...
I hope you're listening, Chris Stanley.
I'll just do this tomorrow.
Yeah, Chris, no phoning in bomb threats for your wedding, and that goes to Loz. And Ed, you're getting to get married as well.
Yeah, I am.
I was trying to remember who the third person was, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's just no date set yet.
Oh. But is there a venue?
Make sure you book the venue.
Yes. Yes, I know which venue.
Is there going to be a Kinder Egg buffet?
Given how the wedding's going so far, yeah, probably.
Awesome.
Kinder Egg buffet. Question 8. Alexander McCall Smith is to reinterpret Jane Austen's Emma, not based on you, Emma, for the 21st century audience. But what historic novel or play would you like to give a modern reworking to, and what changes would you make? Start with Lucy.
Okay, so I wasn't really sure what to go with on this, and then I started looking stuff up just for inspiration, and there's one that's been done, which I think is just perfect anyway, which is they've done a reinterpretation of Dorian Gray, which is obviously an Oscar Wilde novel, where they've made the central character an aftershave model instead of a wealthy socialite. And yeah, so he's basically just an aftershave model obsessed by his looks.
Wow.
Which I feel was perfect, really. But there's also something I wanted to say, which is about modern literature today. There's a big thing that's happened literally in the last few weeks of erotica about dinosaurs.
What?
Yes, I came across this because there was someone who'd taken a load of the covers because they're hilarious.
Well, yes, we've been talking about it with the Feckles guys today on Facebook, and there's some, some great titles like Taken by the Pterodactyl and things like that.
I was going to say, did you realise that they're written by someone called Christy Sim?
Yeah, this is that's why we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, if that's what modern books are going to be like, I'm really worried, because I started reading a bit of one and it was awful, and now I feel very dirty.
Hang on.
Do you think there's someone, there are people who've had dinosaur fetishes for years and they could never have a release for it, and they're like, oh, finally, I can actually be accepted and actually enjoy what I like?
Hang on, is this people and dinosaurs, or dinosaurs and dinosaurs?
Women and dinosaurs. Dinosaurs taking women sexually in various circumstances.
Yeah, I've heard about it for dragons before. It doesn't surprise me anymore.
Oh yeah, that's that website where you can buy
Yep.
dragon phalluses.
Yep, I have heard of this as well.
Yeah.
And,
Yes,
and if you're looking for a special present for that loved one this Christmas...
I can't remember the website. It's not like I regularly shop there.
Yeah, a dinosaur novel taken by the pterodactyl looks amazing.
Oh dear, your mum's in for a shot next time she goes on Amazon shopping. You recently looked at this. You might be interested in dragon phalluses.
I don't know how I know that exists. Too much time on Tumblr.
Probably the internet generally.
Just
It's a dark and terrible place, the internet.
Jenny.
You can spend all your time looking at knitting patterns on the internet. and still be corrupted. I would adapt Charles Dickens' Great Expectations to modern day America, and Miss Havisham could be an aging bridezilla type of person, and the convict could be a gangster who's broken out of prison, and Pip could be played by Aaron Paul.
Nice.
It could be directed by Baz Luhrmann or something.
That'd be pretty
awesome.
grand. Ed?
Yeah.
Actually, Jenny stole my answer there, because Great Expectations was what I had, because I actually, it's one of the classics I like quite a lot. Except, I suppose my take on it would actually be more that Magwitch, the convict, is a drug dealer after crack. And you could have the start, like Pip could be this chav in in England, and his sister could have drugs in the cupboard, and he steals drugs from Mr. Pumblechook, who comes around, who's actually the CSA, and Estella, the girl he's so infatuated with, could be a high class chav, and throughout the story he could learn to become more educated, not chav like. I prefer that.
Okay, and Emma, last of all.
Personally, I would like to see a modern adaptation of the Iliad and the Odyssey, because they're amazing adventures, and Troy just doesn't count because it's awful. To be honest, a lot of old mythology anyway. I especially like the Greek myth, but to be honest, the mythos of many different cultures is fascinating. And you've got all of these amazing stories that I think for especially kids would be great for them growing up, because they're full of adventure and fantasy and all these things going on, and all these great heroes and characters. And I think they could be made a lot more accessible, and it'd be really great.
Yeah, I'd love that. I need to read the Odyssey. I've been reading bits of it, coincidentally.
Does he ever make it home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin the ending, but yeah.
Spoilers.
And I love the Iliad, but then there's like a whole book of the Iliad which is just talking about all the different ships that sailed to Troy, and it's full of stuff like that which would put even the bravest reader off.
The Iliad is Hercules, right?
No, it's not.
Damn.
It's the Battle of Troy, but it's got Achilles and Hector and all kinds of exciting fighting and stuff going on, and there's gods and goddesses and lots of battles.
Odysseus?
And yes, Odysseus is in that, and then the Odyssey is his journey home, which has the Cyclops and most of the bits of Greek mythology you actually learn about.
Emma, have you listened to Ulysses Must Die?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, the mechanisms at the Fringe.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great adaptation of great myths.
That was very clever.
Yeah.
In fact, that was one of the things that got me thinking about this.
Yeah.
Because it's brilliant, and although mythology has been interpreted in some interesting ways recently. I would like to see a modern adaptation of that.
Time for the final scores before the final round. On 29 points, it's Lucy, and tied on 31 points, it is Emma, Edgar, and Jenny.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
That's interesting.
Now we come to the final round, where our guests will present a news headline followed by a 20-second summary of the story. The story can either be true and something from the Parks Week news, or entirely fictional. The other guests will then have to decide whether the story is in fact true or false, with points awarded accordingly. So, on this occasion, with Lucy trailing, you can pick the running order, Lucy.
Okay, I'm going to say Jenny to go first, then Emma, then Edgar, then myself.
So Jenny, if you could provide your headline, please.
Man ejected from NFL game in foam finger baby hat row.
Okay, and 20 seconds go.
A spectator was asked to leave this week's Denver Broncos Dallas Cowboys game for putting a naughty foam finger on his baby son's head.
Right. Emma next, please.
I've got pig that drank 18 cans of beer and bravely fought a cow dies. And this is from Australia, and there is a wild pig there which is famous for stealing people's beer, and one time went on a bender and tried to attack a cow and was found asleep under a tree the next day.
Right.
He was greatly mourned by many locals.
Did it die as a result of the fight, or is it just died after many long years of drinking?
It died after many long years of drinking. It actually got drunk and wandered into the road and got killed by a truck.
Oh no!
It's a shame what happened to Babe after the films flopped.
These child stars, they always go weird.
Yeah.
Okay, Ed, you're next.
37th Kingswood, win by Streaker from a Drum Corps UK show.
Okay.
It happened apparently at semi-finals, so there we go.
37th Kingswood won by Streaker.
37th Kingswood is the name of one of the marching bands. Yeah, and they won this show after Streaker ran on the field during the performance. And the judges gave him the highest score, and there was quite a lot of controversial talk about that afterwards.
Okay, and Lucy, lastly.
Pickled snake awakens after 3 months before biting a woman in China.
Pickled steak, right, okay.
Snake!
Snake!
I heard steak.
I heard steak as well.
I also did.
Did you hear steak, Ed?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
There we go.
It's not a snake, it's not a steak, it's a snake. Lucy, do the story.
Yeah, a woman in China had a snake in a jar which she'd been pickling in some special wine for some health stuff. And then she opened the jar to use the wine out of it for rheumatism, and the snake bit her after being in the jar for 3 months.
So we have a man ejected from an NFL game for putting a foam hand on his son's head, a pig who can drink 18 cans of beer, the streaker at the band camp, and the pickled snake that is not steak. Jenny, what do you make of those? Which do you think are true and which do you think are false?
I think Emma's was true, Edgar's was false, and Lucy's was true.
Okay, Emma.
Oh, this is a tough one. I think that Jenny's is true, that Edgar's is false, and that Lucy's is also false.
Okay, Edgar next.
I think Jenny's is true, Emma's is true, and Lucy's is false.
Okay, and Lucy lastly.
I think Jenny's is true, Emma's is true, and Edgar's is false.
Okay, so it really does hinge on an Ed looking at it. I just need to add the bonus points in now, which of course are going to be very important with the scores so close. Okay, so that's that done. Jenny, man ejected from NFL game. Is that true or false?
It's false.
Ooh.
It's a complete lie.
So that's 3 points to Jenny there. Okay, Emma?
He was nicknamed Swino, and he's been greatly mourned. It's true.
Aww. I'm both sad and enjoyed by that story.
Okay, so
I'm glad that Swino's legacy is being broadcast through the Waffle.
He had a great life.
He did.
Okay, so everybody gets a point there. Okay, Ed, the streaker.
Oh, of course it's false.
So that's points all round there for everybody on that round.
I wanted it to be true. I'd go to see more marching bands if it was true.
Okay, and the pickled snake in a jar. Jenny was the only one who went true here.
Yeah, it was true.
Oh, yay! I usually do really badly on these.
Yeah, she went to open the jar to take out the sort of the pickling juice for her rheumatism, and the snake that had been sort of in hibernation for 3 months decided to leap out the jar and bite her in the hand.
I think it was you saying about the rheumatism, it was that detail that sold it for me.
Yeah.
That made me think, it's probably true.
Okay, so that brings us to the final scores. So this is a big moment here, as we are about to find out who has been declared the winner of Season 2 of the 11 o'clock Waffle. In last place, on 35 points, it is Edgar Duncan.
Oh, how the fallen are mighty.
Yeah, I did awful in that last round though.
On 36 points, and tied, rather fittingly, it's Emma and Lucy, which means our new champion of the series is Jennifer Roberts on 40 points.
Yeah! 34A!
Oh, good job. Well deserved.
Yep, congratulations.
Our
So
trash
Jenny
talking works, apparently.
Yeah.
saddens me. I'm sorry.
So Jenny is the winner.
Woo!
This is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Small and mighty.
How does it feel to be the champion of the series, the best waffler of 2013?
It's a very, very prestigious title. I look forward to receiving my cash prize.
And I will send Chris Stanley up to Weston as soon as we've found whatever is down the back of the sofa.
We can celebrate him being a quarter of a century old, which isn't that old. We will fight death together.
That brings us to the end of the series. Or does it? Because we will be back very shortly with the first of 3 sci-fi specials. In honour of Doctor Who turning 50 on November the 23rd, we are going to be celebrating that, and in the build-up to that we will have 2 semi-finals starring some of our geekiest wafflers of all time, and they will be fighting for a place in our Doctor Who special finale, which we hope to get up just before the finale airs, so that's going to be awesome. Not only that, we do have a Christmas special coming as well. Keep your eyes posted on our Facebook and Twitter pages for the further details on both those upcoming events. So that brings us to the end of the second series of the show. We hope you've enjoyed it, and please go back and re-listen to some of the highlights, because there have been some cracking episodes this series. I mean, we've had some great debutantes in Shrub, Loz, Ashlyn Tomo, Lee Farnell. Great returning guests, of course, in Natalie, Maya, Dan, and of course, the old guard of Edgar, Lucy, James, and Carla. But we end the show with our first ever female champion, Jennifer Roberts.
Yay!
Yay! Yay!
I'm off to see what Chris Stanley said about this, because he did a prediction that I haven't seen yet. I want to know if he was right.
So that's it for Series 2 of the 11 o'clock Waffle. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good winter. But remember to come back for us. Bye!
Bye, bye, bye.
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 Love you.